I'm back down at Walden, and I thought I would share a little bit about my own ADHD. I've learned a lot about it in the recent years as I've gotten older, and also from coaching so many people with ADHD. But it first showed up for me, I think, in nursery school when I used to be really anxious to not be with my mom. And anxiety to the point where I almost threw up. And then in middle school, I was the one who was always looking out the window, spacing out, turning around and talking to the person behind me, getting in trouble for talking, taking tests where you had to read a paragraph and answer questions about it, and I'd be like, I have no effing idea what that said. I sometimes talk so much that I had to go up and face the blackboard. So I had a lot of energy and I had a lot of curiosity, just like I do now. And then as life went on, I think being an athlete really helped me because I can hyper-focus on things and do really well with what I'm interested in. And all the dopamine from swimming and running really quelled my brain and my anxiety and was really helpful. And then now, I think what I notice most about my ADHD is it's really hard for me to pay attention to something that is not interesting. And this includes listening to a conversation or hearing something that I'm not really interested in hearing. In coaching, I rarely space out. And I think that's because I am so curious about people and just want to help them. I also have always struggled with reading. I realize now I have a form of dyslexia, and if the room isn't really quiet and the book isn't really interesting, I can't pay attention to it. But what I've learned to do is follow my finger under the line, which is really helpful. I also have something called dysnomia. And boy, learning that I have this has just set me free, because dysnomia is where you can't remember a word. And of course it gets worse as you get older. So now I just talk around words. I don't worry like I'm losing my mind. I just kind of notice it and let it go. And my anxiety has gotten so much better because I understand the ADHD anxiety. ADHD is really about learning to live successfully with being anxious. So when I have anxious thoughts now, I notice them, and unless they're about being out there in the deep water, which I don't go to, I'm much more capable of just noticing them and letting them float down the river, and not like glomming onto them and not ruminating and overthinking them or really worrying. So that's where I am now. I think knowledge is super helpful. I think that sharing with people where you struggle kind of sets you free, because everyone struggles somewhere. And I just hope for everyone who has ADHD or not, that they can really listen to what they love to do, how they want to spend their time. I love to be creative. If I'm making something, whether it's dinner or a birthday card or knitting or whatever, I'm in my element, and my brain is filled with dopamine. So I'm paying way more attention to what energetically turns me on and what doesn't, and letting go of the things that don't. And that's the story.